Yeah, hello. Um, I'm Nikita, and welcome to the ugly presentation. This is me and Red Bear. Um, Red Bear is my imaginary friend, and I'm wearing the same shirt as today. Um, Apparently, I have one shirt. Yeah, so we're working on this film for about 4 years now, so it's a pretty long time and very difficult to keep focus, but it's actually pretty easy because it makes quite a lot of fun. And I'm actually in the same studio as Simon, who did the presentation just before. So always when I have a question, I always, Simon, can you help out? And he's always helping, which is great. Um, yeah, so to give you an idea what we're actually working on, I'm just going to show you some studio footage. Yeah, this is, thank you already. um, this is some studio footage, basically some experiments that we did, and it's the story is about this guy. It's his name is Ugly, and he is a cat. He looks a bit like a spider, but he is a cat. And we did a trailer. We did a little like a teaser when we were doing Kickstarter, and it helped us a bit. We made it, and I'm just gonna show it to you as well, so I don't have to speak too much. Um, it's a very emotional film, and the inspiration, um, yeah, here, inspiration. Um, where did it come from? It was actually quite a long process and took ages, and I was really, really desperate. Um, so I went on here, and it's a website for inspirations, basically. And it says what you can find on this website inspirational quotes, love stories, sad stories, motivational advices, and lots of wise things, and lots of help for desperate people. So it was perfect. And there I found this story. And it's already targeted with commercials and stuff at cat-loving people. And basically, the story is about a cat that is treated really, really badly because he's looking really badly. And so the idea behind it is actually very noble. It's treating each other with respect and um, love each other. And but the story was really, really tacky and really cheesy, and so the actual message didn't get to me, and I found it actually quite funny, which was a problem. But um, I decided to do a funny movie about an ugly cat with the tackiest of designs and animation, and that was the idea. That was the first idea. That was not the best idea, but it got me started, and the thing about ideas as well is I think there is no one idea that brings you forward. There's always a constant process, and because we're working on this film for such a long time, it has always been developing. And I think this idea got us started, but then it changed quite a lot, and I'm going to show you how it changed. So yeah, the first experiments, the first inspirations were quite easy. We had to find an ugly cat, and the internet was full of ugly cats. So the next thing to find was techie stuff. Where do you find techie stuff? And you have quite a lot of motivational posters like these, and it's basically very heavy subjects put onto light backgrounds, and these were supposed to motivate you, and some people are motivated by these. Maybe, yeah, basically you can take a lot of inspiration from this, like sunsets and success and distance, these kind of things. And yeah, I was hanging on many spiritual forums as well, which was a bit strange, but there I stumbled upon New Age stuff and Native American things like this. Yeah, that opened many possibilities, and I was very eager to start, and started drawing the first sketches, and started working on the cat there on the top left, and a bit of Native American guys there, and here's some more. There's already one guy which was actually. Can you hear me good? Because yeah, okay. This guy on the top right is already coming very close to our final red bear. I think I was just lazy and took the first sketch. And yeah, we started storyboarding, or me started storyboarding later. It was we. Very rough, everything, and so when the story and everything was on paper. Started researching more the Native Americans, and another thing was, not sure if you know them, I think everybody knows them, the Peruvian musicians on the streets. You don't really say that you like this music, but you secretly do, and I really like that music. So I thought it would be a really great soundtrack for this project. And so I continued looking, and then I told you something about ideas. Ideas change and develop, and there was one point where it really changed for ugly, and this was after I watched this video.
Time evolves and comes to a place where it renews again. Everything is coming to a time where prophecy and man's inability to live on earth in a spiritual way will come to a crossroad of great problems. It's the Hopi belief, it's our belief that If you're not spiritually connected to the earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on earth, it's likely you will not make it.
So what happened here? The whole thing was really funny until I watched this video, and he's saying the right things, even though he's still like projected with a blur on top of Grand Canyon and stuff. It's looking funny for some people, but it's really serious stuff. And I felt really bad having read the original story, which was actually addressing the right things, but was really funny to me because it was really tacky. And so it was a problem. I couldn't really continue making a funny, tacky thing about an ugly cat who gets treated badly. So I had to push it into something more more serious, because it really deserved it, and I think the message should come across it. And I wasn't sure why it was like this, why the story didn't get to me. Maybe it was because it was really tacky, or because it was patronizing. Maybe it's like when you're a kid and your parents tell you you have to do a certain thing, and you think it's your parents, they're not cool, I don't want to do it, I want to do something else. Maybe it was something like this, and later when you grow up, you suddenly realize, oh, okay, it was actually right, they were right. I was just a dumb kid. And so that happened here, and I think this guy sums it up quite well as well. Some of you know him from the internet, obviously. He's a meme on the internet at the moment. You can send him and like say something with this image to your friends and stuff. But actually, when you Google him, it's his name is Iron Eyes Cody, and he was a very famous guy in the 70s, and he helped to raise issues for the environment. So he was actually standing for a very good cause, and but somehow he ended up as a meme. And the other thing is, he was not really Native American, even though he was the Native American face of that time. He was actually Italian, and he was a stunt person. So he was a fake person, a fake guy who was standing for the right things. And I think there was a bit of a controversy here. So if I look at him now, I still think it's a funny gif, but there's also something behind it, and that's what we wanted to do with our film, to make a funny film but have something behind it. And then we created Red Bear.
He was a lovely little cat, except he was ugly. And what is ugly? Ugly, as most people see it, is being out of balance. For me, everything here is out of balance. Well, except the sunsets.
Is there a reason for so many sunsets and sunrises in the film?
I like them. I guess the sunsets and sunrises compensate for the imbalance of this neighborhood.
What do you mean by imbalance?
I don't judge, but it is like we forgot the instructions on how to live on Earth. In a way, we're all silly puppets. It is as if we can't always control our actions.
So this is Red Bear, and he's the good soul of our project. He's also a chief storyteller, and he's also acting in the film. And he's always in good spirits, and he has a Facebook profile as well. And he has more friends than I have, about double the amount of friends than I have. And yeah, So looks looks of ugly. Obviously, because Red Bear likes sunsets, we have lots of sunsets and full moons and time lapses, stars, and I think that's it. And then we have lots of ugly characters that look like this. This is a bit of a prototype, and there was a bit of work put into this guy, even though he probably doesn't look like it. I tried to make him look as if, like, I don't know, if you draw, for example, and you draw with your right hand, you have full control, but when you draw with your left hand, suddenly everything becomes, you don't have any control anymore. Suddenly you're surprising yourself with what you're drawing. And I tried to do this with this guy as well. Like when you model something and your first thought is to model it this way, then your second thought must be the one, do it the other way. So that's why he's completely out of proportions and looking kind of stupid and creepy and silly. Same thing with projection or texturing. So we're using camera mapping, and it works like this. So basically, it's just it's very lazy, but it works from one side. From the other, we don't care. And we have a similar thing here in the next image, which is like the ugly neighborhood. It's quite a long shot. So it's a very zoomy camera, and we're projecting the whole texture into the neighborhood, and then it's just like stretched out. But then from one perspective it looks good, from the other it just doesn't, just looks 3D. And the camera lens flare, by the way, is Cinema 4D internal lens flare. I think nobody uses it. No professional person uses it, but I really like it. And I think we're going to do everything inside of Cinema 4D, even though maybe sometimes it's not really intelligent. Yeah, the neighborhood, we have built some houses, and I've put some music for it on top of it. Also with camera projections. This is from Mainz. Yeah, we've taken many pictures, many photographs, and just projected onto like stuff. This is also Mainz. This is my house. I was living there on top. This is from China. I've never been to China, but this is London, Mainz. Some shabby building, also Mainz. Yeah. Okay. So coming to animation. Yeah, dynamics. Now, dynamics is really fun now, but it wasn't at the beginning. The inspiration came from YouTube videos when you see lots of these guys falling on the stairs, and they usually look very good, but when we tried to do it, they didn't. And yeah, and we thought it would be really just like make dynamics, animate through, and then it just looks good, very realistic. But it actually created much more problems than it solved, or it wasn't supposed to solve any problem. It was just a lazy way to start stuff. But it was like this: starting lazy. Then it becomes complicated, and then you work your way through because you're stubborn, and then in the end something good comes out, and that was our process until today. And yeah, the first problems were this guy here, for example, if he wants to pick up the cube, how do you do it? You have no keyframes. You have to like make a dynamic simulation for him to pick it up. So what do you do? And we decided to do marionettes. So this was the first marionette, not a character. It's a rubbish car, and it's picking up rubbish. And you see this string there on top, which was holding the lid, and then the motor drives it off. And I was really happy it worked. This is a shot from outside of the frame. It like crashed, and already here I was really happy that you get this unexpected things happening. And after this rubbish car, we made a first character, and it was a pigeon. And it was really simple. You have the strings there connected to the controllers, and then you can select them and flap the wings so the pigeon is flying. And the pigeon likes trees, so we made a tree for it. And the tree, I tried to research trees, and there's many plugins and stuff, and they're very expensive, and you can buy trees, and they all look too good for our ugly movie, and it was really difficult. So, and then I stumbled upon a tutorial where a guy did a tree with hair, and so that was a good technique because it was also using dynamics, even though it was not real rigid body dynamics, but hair dynamics, but it was dynamics. So it works like this: you have a tree coming, hair coming out of a plane, and then out of this hair, other hair come out, and then out of these hair, more hair comes out, etc. And yeah, we've put our pigeons into the tree, and they already start interacting. Like the top pigeon there gets trapped, and yeah, so this was the thing with the trees. And later on, we started building a little forest, and this was really, I was a bit afraid that it would slow down the computer, but we used instancing and cloning, and then it actually worked. And so we had we built some trees and grass, and later we had Red Bear running through the jungle. Everything is kind of dynamic, like this thing there that's hanging, the lian, or how do you call it? It's like bouncing against his shoulder, and then you have the butterflies, and this is also dynamic, yes. I'll come to the running and the movement later, and but yeah, he's stepping on grass, and that's quite nice. And about dynamics, like making characters move dynamically, this is our marionette setup. So we have these guys there running, and you see the controllers, they are spinning and pulling the legs, and they're the lion, and everything is controlled with these springs. We also made, obviously, people, little guys, and yeah, they're very unpredictable, actually, and it's a bit like working with actors where you really don't know what they do. So here we had to place a cube because they didn't stop or they were shaking afterwards, and we had to like make it invisible afterwards. And after doing this, it was quite a lot of fun to make them play together and to make them interact. So actually, you never know what they do. They look kind of silly. And I think for a commercial project, that probably would be a really bad thing to do. I think it crashed or something. But let's see. Oh, I think it crashed. Let me see. Okay, we're back on. So yeah, again, they look really silly, but that goes with our movie. We make an ugly movie, a silly movie. That's a good excuse to always make things silly. And the first bicycle setup that we made, I didn't know how to do dynamics really good at that time, and so I had to make them still. So the environment is moving a bit like in Flintstones, and his wheel is like his basically just the motor is spinning his feet, and everything else is just moving past. Like the leaves as well, they are just blown with a ventilator. And after making this, we made a motorcycle, and this one has a motor, and I think it's gonna, yeah, and when you start the motor, it actually starts driving off, and it falls only outside of the frame. So it works for this amount of framing there, and we could use it for our movie, so that was good. And yeah, particles. This is thinking particles, and the fire is just projected on top of the particles. And we did a similar thing here with water. So here's our cat. Slow motion. I don't know why. Yeah, and the water is dynamic, and it just like shoots him out of the frame, and the guy's taking care of the playground. And yeah, so yeah, as I said, thinking particles. Later on, we switched to X particles because it's a bit more intuitive, and we made a waterfall. And this is not final render, but I think it's already looking quite interesting with the texture projected onto the moving particles. And another X particle setup was this rain thing. And there's a little chain reaction happening here. I was very proud that I've managed to do it with my little particle skills. So it's like a drop is falling, then it's leaving a mark, it's dying afterwards, and then it's like also like creating other drops and stuff. For me, it was really complicated, and yeah, another spectacular fluid simulation. Basically, it's just dynamic plates flowing in a direction, and they are dragging this boat with them, and the boat is having the animals in it. It's a bit like Arch Noah. This is another experiment we did. Poor guy. Yeah, it's sometimes it's really difficult to move on with the project. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it takes ages, because it's so tempting to do the little things like here, Battleship Potemkin Odessa steps. I had to send this baby buggy down there, see what happens, and yeah, dramatic stuff. Yeah, another thing, one more, carousel. Again, like all the things, they happen in the process. Like there is an idea, you have to, you see this YouTube video with the little kids playing on the playground with a carousel with their mopeds, and I think there's stupid guys, I have to include this in my movie. And then then this thing happens with this other guy. So what's happening here? Like, we have a motor that is driving driving the wheel, uh, and then the wheel is driving the carousel, and then the carousel is driving this guy, and then this cloth completely freaks out because the sampling is too low, and you never expected this, but then uh, it's just something you take. Oh shit. Okay, so what can you do with cloth besides this? You can do a galaxy. So on the left is a test render with a super cool lens flare. And on the right, we have the simulation, how it works. So basically, we have toruses that rotate, and they're positioned, one or a couple are behind, and a couple are in front of the cloth galaxy. And they are spinning this thing to create this twirly thing. And so we have our galaxy. Another thing to do with cloth that we did with cloth was a cigarette tip. I'm not sure if you can understand what's happening there. In the bottom, you see a hand there smoking a cigarette, and the camera there pointing to the tip of the cigarette. So there is no turbulence and no animation happening. It's basically just the cloth trying to hold on to the belt tag and doesn't know what to do with the large scale of the scene. And but we get this fiery, burning thing. Yeah, the next cloth experiment was quite recent one actually. It's this plastic bag on Ugly's head. I was thinking it's going to be very difficult to do, but then the cloth was just flying, very predictable. And on the right, you can see the what is animated, like turbulence, wind, and direction and stuff. And on top, this thing, by the way, the little block there is moving his tongue when he's saying something. Well, he's not saying, but he's saying a meow. So if you combine cloth, splines, hair, and rigid body, it gets a bit tricky in Cinema 4D because the dynamic systems are separate. But you can still do it. It just takes a bit of workarounds. Like, for example, here the electricity poles, it's mainly rigid bodies, and then to the rigid bodies, the spline dynamics are connected afterwards. So it's a bit like a backwards dynamic simulation. And the next one is an example of what can also go wrong. It's basically a quick test of Red Bear riding the buffalo. There is a scene where it's going to happen. I still haven't figured out how to do it, but yeah. And about stuff going wrong, sometimes it's very difficult when you come into the office in the morning and you save the file from 3 a.m. from the last day, and then you find stuff like this, and you have no clue what is this. Like, then you try to figure out, but it's basically, I don't know. Sometimes it's happened, or when you see this, like, what is that? It's just basically it's opening the scene in the middle of the frame count, so it's not the first frame, but the middle frame, and then you've saved it in a really strange position. And then this boobs dynamics, they freeze in a wrong position. And then we have a more explicit version of this one. I'm not going to show it. Here, this is hair dynamics gone wrong, but it was not our fault actually, because it was a bug in the software, and they fixed it unfortunately. But we kept the scene, and really liked that bug. There was one scene that we made with this thing. Girls can relate. Yeah. Yeah, well, like sometimes you're not responsible for what's wrong. Sometimes you are. Like here, when baking went wrong, so like I just baked a part of like keyframes, and like suddenly he's going to the beach, and so sometimes it's really difficult to tell a story when random stuff happens like this, and therefore you need to be able to control stuff somehow. So I think controlling stuff is very important. So I made a whole topic on this controls. Um, this is a bit simple controls, but it's basically working with force fields. The left one is X particles. It was done by Phil Maron, and the right one I did like flies that are following this attractor, and then there's a has a little vibration tag, and then they can actually land on this little box there because they have a lot of friction. So, therefore, like by dragging these things, you can control the animation of the flies, and it works for us because they're not main characters. This one is a little tornado setup that we just built recently, and it is also it's a bit difficult, more difficult to control because you have to hit a certain combination of keys at the right amount of time. So it's like playing a game a bit. You have to like press the button there, then press the button there, and then move it there, and then suddenly like the bag flies somewhere else, and then but it's quite fun. If you want to make characters run, it's also difficult. Yeah, this is some attempts of making the dog run, but in the end we made it. Here's our Doberman running, and yeah, the 3D motion blur that you see there is basically bad binding that I forgot to like. It's just, but I left it in the film. And if you have a dog running, then you can do a chase scene. We have a chase scene there with dogs running after Ugly. So in the bottom, actually, you see what's happening. So this car is dragging Ugly, and then there's these dogs. It's very slow, actually, compared to the one above. But this guy, he's actually getting hold of his leg, and then he releases it. Yeah, this one worked, but we had this, like right after this, there's a time when Ugly gets dragged, then the rope rips, he flies off into the air, and then the dogs are supposed to collide into him. And this was very difficult because I tried to do it all in one shot because I was stupid. And yeah, there you see the difficulty because they're just like, he lands in all sorts of places because there's so many variables, and it's very difficult to have him collide with the 3 dogs in one particular spot. So I tried to be smart and made like 20 dogs, but then it didn't work. Yeah, so yeah, I had to fake this, and so this is the actual shot. So I got rid of the car and just pulled Ugly by itself, and then we have this stuff, more brutal. Yeah, so taking from this is don't be stubborn. You need to frame things good, and yeah, framing things. We have our camera guy here. You've seen the many shaky shots probably from Ugly, and this is how we do some of it. So it's this guy, and he's holding the camera, and he's pointing it at stuff, and he's a busy man. And here he's filming our drone guy. Yeah, he's actually he still stood up. He's okay. Um, so yeah, controlling like if we have drones, we have must talk about motors, and so let's start with a car. We have a Citroen here, 2CV, and we have a low ride mode and lots of other modes, and actually it's pretty controllable, and it's very fun to drive around through the cinema with this thing. Um, and yeah, we had a motorcycle that just drove outside of the frame, so we had to improve it with these controls. So we made the improvement and sent him onto a half pipe, and he disintegrated. Yeah, the bicycle is also going forward now. There's a motor spinning his feet and the bike, and he's kind of keeping balance with these springs there on top, and very spectacular stuff. Another motorized thing is our butterfly. So actually the wings are controlled with motors, and if you have a cloner, you can make many butterflies. So one of them is broken. Okay, so about the drone. Here's our drone controls. You can kind of navigate it through space. It's a bit tricky, but it's working. And the next thing that we did was with the help of Mateusz Nidoba. He helped us to connect PlayStation 2 controllers to cinema. So you can actually you can control the Espresso setup or the Python setup with the controller and then fly the drone. And I'm still a bad flyer, but basically, if you connect two controllers, then you can have one guy steering the drone and one guy steering the camera. So it could be quite a nice thing to do after the film. And yeah, we have a car as well connected to the controller. And yeah, thank you, Simon, for filming the stuff. Yeah, try to get a ramp there. It's still a bit breakdancey. It needs a bit of fine tuning, but I think it's pretty simple to do. We just made it like very quickly, and there you go. Yes. Okay. I think it's a really tricky name. I think I'm gonna come back to you on this one. It's like two plugins basically. One is to connect the controller to your PC or Apple, and then you connect you have a plugin for cinema that connects it to your Espresso. And yeah, breaking things. Once you've broken so much stuff, you know how to break things. So this is like controlled braking. Pretty simple there on the left, just a cube falling on a soft body, and then on the right we have a car built with cloth, and it's colliding with our stunt woman, creating this epileptic stuff. Yeah, another thing like about controlled braking of things. Okay. We have our lion. It's doing an emotional roar. And yeah, I think it's good to really embrace mistakes for these kind of results, because if you don't do mistakes in the beginning, then you're not going to get these things. And I think that's what I learned from the whole thing. And yeah, there's our giraffe. it's kind of ugly, but I think it's also beautiful, and I think that's it's a bit a message behind everything, and I think yeah, last shot. I want to conclude with the next one. It's our camera guy made a really beautiful composition. Um, so embrace mistakes, make silly things, and jump into cold waters, and do what you like, I guess. And I think that's it. Still filming. Okay. Thank you.